I should have been a cowboy. I should have learned to rope ride.
What's the beer that has a little Bigfoot on it? You know what I'm talking about?
Kokanee.
Yeah, I used to love getting
Looking at the can and being like,
where is that? It's not in this can.
I freaking dude.
I love Sasquatch. I haven't had Kokanee.
Are you a Sasquatch guy? Do you believe in Sasquatches?
No, I don't believe in Sasquatch.
Not at all. Hey?
No.
That probably wasn't a thing at all in Brazil, hey?
No.
Is there a mythical creature in Brazil?
Yeah, it's called there's one that's called Saci Pererê, which is a African Brazilian man who wears a red hat and only has one leg and hops around. No joke. Really? He lives like in the woods and just does like mischievous things. Like he ties your horse's mane in a knot at night.
Oh, that dirty fucker, eh?
Sleeps with your wife, that kind of thing.
Just hops in there on you. You don't believe in this guy?
No, I definitely don't believe in the one-legged man. No.
Well, we got a fun guest today, guys. Somebody that I've never talked to in my life, but I'm really excited that you got this guy lined up. Felipe, how about you let us in on who we're chatting with?
Mr. Josh Frost, buddy. I'm super excited again. I mean, we're going to say the same thing for every guest we have on, but if they're on the podcast, it's because there's a reason. We look up to them. They're either an amazing rodeo athlete or a businessman or whatever it is. So Josh is a guy that I've gotten to meet over the years in the rodeo trail, and just a really nice guy, an amazing bull rider, riding both the PRCA and for the teams with the PBR. So I'm excited to ask him about this moment right now with the PBR teams, and he's coached by JV Mooney. So what are you going to ask him?
If they have to smoke darts to be on his team.
that is the most important thing you need to have in your credentials. Do you smoke or not? No, I don't think Josh smokes. It doesn't seem like
it doesn't look like it, no.
But he's an all-around cowboy.
Yes, 4-time Linderman Award winner. If you don't know what that is, you win that award by competing in 3+ events at both ends of the arena. So buddy's working both timed event and rough stock and excelling at both, because they don't just hand out the Linderman Award.
Exactly. It's one thing to say, hey, I ride bulls and I rope and I steer wrestle as a joke. This guy is winning rodeos. You know what I mean? Tie down roping. You can search up YouTube, Josh Frost tie down roping, and he's a real hand. And he's apparently a good bulldogger as well, which I didn't know till Cole just told me with his research. I thought he just tied down and rode bulls, and obviously related to the legendary Lane Frost. We've all seen the movie 8 Seconds, and the legend. Everyone talks about how he was such a nice guy, right? And an amazing bull rider.
Yeah, so we're excited to get in with Josh Frost. So there's only one way we start our podcast, unless it's at 9 a.m. And here we go in 3, 2, 1. Josh Frost.
Irish Crickets. And it's funny because we're also going Utah back to back.
Yeah.
Right?
We are.
AC and Josh.
They put out a lot of big-time athletes out of Utah.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. What is it in the water down there, eh? I don't know, but I've never been. Have you been to Utah?
I have. Been through it, mostly, obviously, just like stayed overnight.
Okay.
Traveling to and from Arizona and things like that. I haven't had an opportunity to go spend time there.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad went to the Salt Lake City rodeo when they had the Olympics there and had rodeo in the Olympics.
That's right. In Salt Lake, don't they give you a medal when you win the rodeo?
They did, yeah.
And did that start because of the Olympics? Because they host the Olympics, or has it always been like that? Do you know?
That's the only time that rodeo's ever been in the Olympics, was when it was in Salt Lake.
Wow.
Yeah. So when they handed out those medals, man, and Canadians, Rocky Dallin and Murray Lithicum, won the medals.
And freaking Scotty Schiffner won a medal.
Yeah, and so did Scott Schiffner. So
isn't that cool?
That's pretty badass to have 3 medals come back to Canada, the only time they've had rodeo at the Olympics. Dope.
Wow.
And that's it was in Utah.
Dope. Well, let's get into it. Josh Frost.
There's the man. What's going on, Josh?
How's it going, guys?
Bro, I like those checks on the back wall. What you got back there?
Couple wins. Bonanza, the WCRA deal they gave one year.
That's awesome. I want to say I haven't roped at too many places where they give away big checks, but that is one of the coolest things when you get to go walking up there. They call your name and you hold that big sucker over your head and they take your picks and you get to walk off with it.
Oh, yeah. I was a couple years before I finally won one. And once I got the first one, I got a couple more, but they always do you got to take it to the big check bank. Deposit.
Maybe
joke.
Gotta take it to a big bank. They cash big checks.
This is a bank for ants. No, that's amazing, bro. We're so happy to have you on. Thank you for taking some of your time to chat with us. We're big fans of everything you're doing, not just in rodeo, but you're a role model to cowboys and cowgirls everywhere. So thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
I just want to jump off here real quick because we did see in an interview that you said Step Brothers is your favorite movie. And right off the bat, dude, you hit us with a semi-pro quote, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, man. I can't get over how funny that freaking semi-pro is with Will Ferrell.
No, Will Ferrell is definitely one of my favorites. I think I've seen about every movie he's made, and they're always up for a good laugh.
Gotcha.
That's amazing, man. So, Josh, we just finished talking to Casey Field, and we were just chatting here. What is in the water, man, in Utah? What's going on? Like, you guys have so many amazing cowboys, but even in the athlete world, like, what is it all about with Utah and professional athletes?
I specifically speaking for the rodeo world, besides Texas, rodeo is one of the biggest. Utah is one of the biggest rodeo states in the nation. We've got a very, you look at the high school rodeo, Utah's always top three right there with Oklahoma and Texas. And we just got a long history of rodeo in the state. And I think it's carried on. I would say the people that were successful in the past from the state of Utah have done a great job at sharing their knowledge and building the sport, through my generation. And now you have, my generation's already doing the same thing, and it's just getting bigger and bigger every year.
Absolutely. And Utah as a state puts on some really cool rodeos. Where in your own home state is one of your favorite places to ride bulls?
I got two. I have to say Vernal, Utah. It's kind of my hometown. They have the dinosaur round up there every year. That one's always one of my favorites. D&H brings the bulls there, so the bulls are really ranked. And then Spanish Fork's always up there. It's treated me good. They have a huge extreme bulls, and all the rodeos over the 24th of July, we have Salt Lake, Spanish Fork, and Ogden. They're all big ones in Utah, and they're a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. But you're obviously related to the late great Lane Frost. You carry that name, and your dad was a bull rider. Your brother. When did you realize you were going to become a bull rider? Like, do you remember that as a kid, being like, "This is what I want to do with my life"?
I honestly don't. It's kind of what's funny when I say I'm living my dream. From the first time I remember wanting to be something, I remember wanting to be a bull rider. And I think part of it, you grow up seeing pictures. My dad had pictures on the wall, and it was just me and my older brother. That was, you can probably look back at our kindergarten sheet, asked us what we wanted to be, and we would have said a bull rider then. And so it's pretty cool to be living the dream that I've had since I was old enough to have a dream.
Absolutely. Awesome. I feel like a lot of people struggle with finding what it is they want to put that time and energy into, because it takes so much to get to the level that you compete at, let alone just, find something you like to do.
Yeah.
But on top of the bull riding and the amount of work you put in on that, man, you're a 4-time Linderman Award winner, and that is legendary status, working both ends of the arena.
Yeah.
When did you get into riding horses, roping, bulldogging?
That was kind of, I would say bull riding's probably always been the favorite event, but my dad was an all-around cowboy. I think he competed in everything but the saddle bronc riding all the way through college. And so as kids growing up, we just kind of dove headfirst into everything. We ranch a bunch, so we were already riding horses. So we started roping, tying goats, and kind of competed on both ends of the arena the whole time we grew up. And when my brother hit high school, he wanted to start steer wrestling, and so we throw to steer wrestling / team rope and shoot in the arena. And so, like I said, we competed on both ends, and I think it's helped my bull riding. I now always push people to do several events, because I feel like it builds athleticism, and it's you've got to be a cowboy to do any event at the professional level. And so, trying to compete on both ends, I dang sure have probably more respect for the timed event guys than maybe some of the other bull riders that have never tried those events. But I'm just super passionate about rodeo, where I grew up with all of them. And like I said, I love all of them. I love the horsemanship aspect and the competition side. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, that's amazing. Yeah, I feel like you're bridging the gap between the timed event and the roughies. It's nice you're doing both. And in college, where did you go to college, first of all? And did you go to college?
Yep, I went to Panhandle State University.
And tell me about that experience. Were you doing all the events there as well, or did you just focus on the bull riding?
I did all the events there as well. Rode bulls, team rope, steer wrestled, rope calves, and that's partially why I still, I guess, enter the calf roping as much as I do. That's definitely probably my second best event. You know, even to take it back to my senior year of high school, I really struggled in the bull riding, and my calf roping was really taking off. And like when I graduated my senior year, like I was borderline about to quit riding bulls and be a full-time calf roper.
No way.
Yeah, I was working hard at the bull riding, but I bucked off every bull the whole spring of my senior year, and I turned 18 right after the high school state finals. My dad bought me my permit for my birthday, and he said, "Man, I know you can ride those bulls. You got to freaking stick with it." And I won 6th at nationals in the calf rope in my senior year. Didn't even make the short round of the bull riding, and luckily I kept riding bulls, obviously. But rolled on to college and was roping calves, steer wrestling, team roping, bull riding was kind of starting to take off a little more at that point in time. But I made the college finals one time in the steer wrestling, and it's so yeah. Thanks sure got a lot of experience on both ends of the arena.
Wow. That's cool. Yeah. I saw that you'd made the college finals twice, and you answered my question there. I was curious if you had made it in the bull riding and in one of the timed events. So to crack out and make it in the bulldog, and that's pretty sweet. Because I mean, we're built very similar. You know, you're 5'9", 155. I'm friggin' 5'8", 145. You know what I mean? And all my cousins steer wrestle, man. And I didn't even have enough weight to get their heads down to get my feet in the dirt. You know, so I didn't make it very far in the bulldogging.
That's so.
No, it's one. I'm kind of the same way. It's dang sure I have to draw the right steer, but you know, growing high school rodeo and even college rodeo, like there's at least some good. You know, if I draw the good one, I can dang sure go and be in the money. But if they're a little stout, I tend to not do so good.
Yeah, that's where those Kit Kats come in handy, you know.
and that
it just kind of contradicts the bull riding though. If I beef up for the steer wrestling, I start rolling off the bulls a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. You got to stay light for the bull. Yeah, but you know how often are you roping these days? When you're going down the trail, like do you pick certain rodeos? Like how does that work?
Yeah, I always there the end of May, first couple of weeks of June. We have some good circuit rodeos, and that's always when I've kind of have it scheduled in to try and get qualified for the Linderman Award. And, you know, for the most part, if I'm home, I'm roping. I got some young horses I'm training. My wife and sister both breakaway rope a bunch. And so we spend a lot of time on the roping side of the arena, but it gets hard to balance it with the bull riding because I've never really hit it hard in the calf roping. So I'll win a couple thousand each year, but most of the rodeos I go to in the bull riding are, I wouldn't even get into them in the calf roping. And so I kind of take parts of the year and really focus on the bull riding and going and being a world champion. And then I kind of schedule it in when I'm closer to home and can have my own horse there for the timed events.
Man, what a logistical nightmare. Hey, trying to make it all work, you know.
Yeah.
To win that award 4 times it takes so much effort. And then to have the horsepower to go, like even the circuit guys, right? Like there'll be some tough circuit guys floating there.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to be mounted to be able to go turn calves around and have a chance to win, hey?
Oh yeah. When I kind of hit on it earlier, the professional level, like you'll see the rare rodeo where there's a 10-second run that might win you a check in the calf rope. And for the most part, if you can't go run 1 and 8, you're not going to be in the money. And there's no ducking off and saying it's easy. It's dang sure professional, and you better be able to rope at that level. You're not winning 1,000 seems like it's easy, but it's not at this level.
No, God, no.
Yeah, man, it's professional. And tell us about, you're one of the few guys that ride both in the PRCA and the PBR. You're a part of the teams now with Oklahoma. What's that been all about? And what do you think about the team format in bull riding?
I've loved it, and I've kind of, as a bull rider, it's, I get that question a lot, or what's better, PBR or PRCA? And at the end of the day, like, there's no better time to be a bull rider because there's so much money in bull riding, whether it's PBR or PRCA. And the PBR finals and the NFR are the 2 richest places in the world to be a bull rider. And that's why I kind of was able to balance both associations. And I made the PBR finals 2 years in a row and hit a pretty good look there. The NFR's treated me well. And then we started hearing about the team deal coming around. And I actually didn't do it the first year. I was kind of wanted to see what it was all about. And I was pretty focused on, after making the PBR finals that first year, hitting the rodeos hard the rest of the season. But circle back to the next year, jumped in, tried teams, and I'm a huge fan of it. I don't know if we're, even from watching it before I did it, like, it dang sure adds more drama and intensity to bull riding. Like, I have my fans or the people I like to watch ride, but now you're in a game head to head, and it might not even be a guy you follow or know. And if this guy stays on, they win the game. And it's
exactly.
I
just went to the my first event ever down there in Vegas for the team finals, and it's exactly that. You know, it's so interesting as well how the mentality plays into it. Because if a guy's going first that should ride that bull falls off, all of a sudden that team that you thought was going to win is now the underdogs, and then someone from the other team rides, and it's like, oh, the pressure's on on the other team. It was really cool, and I think it's only going to help the sport grow.
Yeah, I think it's going to bring in more fans. Yep. When you see it with NHL, NFL, you can get. It's easier for the fans to follow a team than it is to follow individual athletes, and it's huge potential. And I hope it keeps going well, because I've enjoyed riding in it. It's exciting.
It's kind of brought that reality TV-esque style to our world. We're getting to sample it with one of the coolest sports in the world, bull riding. And then, you catch that drama, man. It really gets people invested. Like, if you can sell a show of just watching old ladies in Beverly Hills, you can't tell me you can't sell a show of watching the best guy getting on the rank as bulls, dude.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's just going to drive sales and traffic to everybody's pages, your page, the PBRs. Yeah. It's going to make events bigger, better, give you guys a chance to ride for more money. Like, it's only going to go up from here.
I love the money part. Anything that I feel like bull riding is one of the craziest things you can do. And, NHL, NFL players are getting paid millions, and I still show up and get on bulls for $800 at certain places because that's what I got to do.
Because you need the rodeo count, right? Like, you don't need the 800, you just need the rodeo count.
But it is one of the craziest things I think that a human has ever thought of to do, and it's so scary. These animals they're very dangerous. It's unbelievable that you guys are able to ride them for 8 seconds and get off most of the time without getting injured. Let's talk about fear a little bit. Like, how did you overcome that fear? Because I know myself, like, I went into tie-down roping, being from Brazil, where everyone rides bulls, because I couldn't overcome that fear. I rode bulls later in life just to try it out, but because I was able to turn that switch when I was older. But when I was young, like, it literally just froze me. Like, I couldn't even imagine myself getting into that shoe. Like, I was so scared. So, for you at such an early age, like, what does fear mean to you? Like, do you feel fear? Like, what is that like?
I would call it more respect now than fear. Like, I'm very aware that it's dangerous, and I respect the sport, and I take it serious every time, you nod your head. But as a kid growing up, I dang sure struggled with it. And that was the best thing my dad did, being a past bull rider and knowing how to help us. Like, we started out on Holstein calves. So when we started riding, I was making the whistle 90% of the time. And the first couple, because I practiced in the calf ride and I went to the rodeo and I won first place. Wow. And so I fell in love with the sport and fell in love with winning. And, I was overcoming the fear in a very safe atmosphere. So then as I started, increasing levels from calves to steers to bulls, like, every time you jumped up a level, there was a new fear factor. But I knew the technique, and I had a deep enough love and passion for it because I'd had success already from an early age. Like, it was the love and competition, wanting to win first, very much overcame the fact that, hey, this is a little scary. And instead of being scared and quitting, it was like, okay, how can I figure out how to get better at this? How can I take care of myself better? How can I, I knew I wanted to make this my career, and go be a world champion and do what you dream about doing since you're a little kid. And so the fear never really held me back.
Well, it's interesting to say as well, because I think preparation is a huge way to fight fear. Like if you're prepared, if you're going through the steps and you're doing your planning, then all of a sudden the fear is not the same, right? So it's very interesting to hear you say that. And tell us about the preparation you still have to go to. You've been to the NFR a bunch of times. You're one of the best bull riders in the world, but still to this day, you need to continue that grind. What is that preparation like for you today?
It's definitely, takes a lot of work, and feel like I do a good job at analyzing my riding, finding my weak spots, and always trying to make my weaknesses my strengths. And like I said, we're getting ready to go to my 5th NFR, and I've been recovering from a little bit of a shoulder injury, so I haven't been getting on very many practice bulls yet, but I've just kind of got the A-OK from my physical therapist, and I've been on 2 cows to make sure it felt good, and got on a practice bull yesterday, and I'm about to be getting on bulls every day for the next 20 days, rolling up to the finals to be dialed in. And that's something I've done the last couple of years. I went and bought practice. If there's something I've struggled with, I try to go and find a practice bull that's like that. I buy that sucker and bring it home and get on him until I can ride that type of bull. And that's something that I feel like's added to my success, is being able to constantly get better. It's one of, if you're not getting better, somebody else is passing you.
Absolutely. And for you to have that, to be in a position mentally where you can look at something that you're not doing well with and be like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to attack this until it's no longer an issue. That's huge, man.
They say make your strengths your weaknesses, and that's something I really have tried to implement into my riding. And a big note on that, for the longest time, 5-6 years, I really struggled on bulls away from my hand, up even through me making my first NFR. Like, I was kind of a one-dimensional rider, and through the course of getting on practice bulls and every chance I got getting on something that went away from my hand, now I talk to people that have only, I talk to people that knew me back when I couldn't ride bulls away from my hand, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you've always rode great both ways." And I'm like, no, there was a long time. Like if they went right, I was laying in the dirt. Like I couldn't even make the corner.
But it's so hard, man. Like you guys, it's surfing and bull riding to me, like because I've tried both, and it's just so unbelievably backwards. Like everything is so hard, and you guys make it look so easy. And when that bull is going away from your hand, man, like I can't even explain to people that have never gone on a bull how difficult that is. And you guys make it look so easy, but it's work, right? It's putting in the work, it's grinding. Nothing's gonna come easy, especially in bull riding. But tell us about, I think the cherry on the cake for every bull rider is going to the NFR. What was it like, your first NFR? How nervous were you before you nodded? That first bull, what goes through to your mind? What's that feeling like?
It's something you dream of forever. Like everybody always says, "Oh, it's just another rodeo," but it's not another rodeo. It's the NFR, and my first NFR was not good. Super excited going in, worked hard. I think I'd probably been on 45 bulls. Like my older brother, he always would get on a bunch of practice bulls, always kick butt at the NFR. So I was like, oh yeah, I ride these bulls. It's going to be like, I'm going to leave here with 150,000 plus for sure. And to make it even worse, in the bull riding, we do what's called the rookie bet. So the first night, anybody whether you're officially a rookie or not, first NFR, you're considered an NFR rookie. And so they have, shave your head, wear a costume in the grand entry, a lot of silly stuff like that. Well, I rolled in there and I was pretty cocky. I was like, oh, I'm not afraid. I'll take the shaved head bet. There's no way I'm bucking off. Long story short, 7.9 seconds in the first round, foot hits me in the butt, come off. So not only do I buck off my first bull, I get my head shaved. Then it just proceeds to spiral. I went ahead and bucked off the other 9 bulls just to put the cherry on top. So I left Vegas thinking that this was the worst place in the world. I did not have a good time, but managed to recoup from that. But the first one was quite the experience. It's one of those ones when it starts going bad at Vegas, it's not good because it's hard to turn it around.
Yeah, that would be, I couldn't imagine getting into, I guess, what you would call a slump in that place. And it would just be, this is going to lead into my next question. I'm just trying to think of the things that you have to do in a day during Vegas, whether it's sponsor obligations, interviews, all that stuff. How are you managing all of the emotions, like the roller coaster of the day? How are you getting enough rest, keeping everybody happy, and then showing up to the arena and bottling up enough energy to go to war for that 8 seconds and ride for 30,000? How do you handle that throughout all 10 days?
It's dang sure came with experience. That first year I probably got a little caught up in the whole Vegas deal, and I was taking every autograph, every TV talk show I could be on. And since then, I'm a lot stricter on the stuff I say yes to. I always try to be done with autographs or stuff by 1 p.m. so I can get back and get a little nap beforehand. And that's something that comes from experience. And there's some people that I probably can do it all day and it doesn't seem to affect them. But if I would have been riding good, I probably would have thought I was really good. But after you bucked off 4 or 5 in a row and you have to go and talk to 1,000 people that are all asking you, man, what's wrong? Or giving you advice on how to ride bulls from people that have never been on a bull. It can be a lot, but it's, that's a big part about being mentally tough. And it's even through all those activities, you roll into that Thomas and Mack, it's pretty easy to get your energy up.
Yeah, for sure. And that place is magic, but I can't even imagine just going there to perform. There's already so much pressure in it, and the added pressure of the NFR, and it must be unbelievable. But the NFR is just 10 days out of a year. We're talking about 300 plus days on the road, traveling from rodeo to rodeo. You're balancing the PRCA with the PBR. What's that like for your family life? How far, how long do you go on these periods where you don't see your family, and what kind of toll does that take on you?
I wouldn't say it's easy, but since I met my wife, we met in college. And so as long as we've known each other, it's been a lot of long distance stuff from the first couple years we dated. She was actually from Canada. And so, went to different colleges. And so we kind of learned, we were not saying we were great when we were together, but we were a very good couple long distance too, like through phone call, text. And she's super supportive, and it's hard with me being gone that long, but she's always super positive and very supportive, pushes me to, stay out there. And, now we've been married for 3 years now. And then she's a breakaway roper too. So last year was probably the craziest because she was almost hitting the road just as hard as I was, but coincidentally, we almost never got to see each other. We'd pass by one day of the week when we got lucky and hit up at the same time. But it's dang sure been a balancing act, but always make an effort to get home whenever. If I've got days off, I'm not headed to my buddy's house to play golf. I'm on a flight home, or making sure to swing by, spend time with my wife, and get a flyer out to she always comes to San Antonio or Calgary or the big ones, and that helps. And then we actually just had our first little girl 2.5 months ago, so I'm nice. That's going to be a new experience this next year, figuring out how to probably going to want to be home even more. But
baby's first Las Vegas too coming up here shortly.
Yep, it'll be your first rodeo.
Ooh,
that's awesome.
No, first rodeo is the NFR. Wow, that's sweet.
That's starting it big, man. 2 months. How old is she? Is it a baby girl?
She's baby girl, and two, and I guess on the 18th she'll be 3 months.
Wow, 3 months. And what's harder, getting on the back of a bull or raising your offspring?
Raising the offspring. I've had a lot more experience riding bulls. They kind of just kick you out of the hospital after 2 days and say, good luck.
Oh man, what's that been like? I feel like in the rodeo world, we always ask the women, about their kids, and we oftentimes forget that, you're a dad, you love your baby girl, and you're working just like any other dad, and your work takes you away from your family. But what's that been like for you? Had you always dreamed about being a father, and what's the process been like?
Yeah, it's something always, I had a very great dad growing up, so that's always been one of my goals, and something I've been super excited about was being a dad. And so it's pretty cool that opportunity is finally here. And but like I said, dang sure been a learning experience. My wife's, she's a champion mom. She's made it really easy on me. And I get home late from a rodeo, she's not waking me up at 4 a.m. to feed the baby. She kind of, I consider her taking care of the baby a full-time job, and she realizes what I do is a full-time job too. And so we've got good balance going, and it's but it's been amazing. She's a relatively easy baby, and said I did only have good things to say about it. I'm enjoying everything right now, but just excited for the future with her too.
That's awesome. And speaking of being on the road so much, what does Josh Frost like to do in the down times when you've got a while before you strap onto the next one, or you swinging the twigs? What are you doing?
Usually sleeping. I would say that would be my closest thing to a hobby. If I got downtime, I'm probably going to be taking a nap. But I do enjoy golf. I don't get out on the course as much as I probably would like, but 3 or 4 times a year we make it. Like I said, I'm pretty aggressive. If I've got days off, I'm headed home. Between having the baby now and wanting to see my wife, we're full-time ranch here at the house that my dad and brother kind of take care of. And so if I don't get very many days off on the road, because they've usually got a list of things that need done, and they're taking care of my cows when I'm gone. And so if I've got 2 days off, I'll usually figure out how to get home for a couple of days and help out. And I feel like that's what I would say my hobby is, or what makes me happy, is just being home working and being with the family. So
nice. That's awesome, man. You can't ask for much more than that. And, speaking of family, we kind of talked a little bit about this at the beginning. Lane Frost was your second cousin. I talk to Tough Cooper about this all the time, about having that last name that, sure, it can open doors for you, but it gives you some added pressure. And, sometimes it makes it harder for you to make it in any world if someone in your family was so good at it. So what was that like for you growing up, going to rodeos with that Frost last name? Did you feel the added pressure? Did it make it easier? What was that like?
Definitely felt the added pressure as a kid, not only did I have the added pressure of Lane, as Lane Frost's cousin, my older brother was very successful from a young age and rode. I would say, is general for a bull rider. I had success at a young age, but not nearly as much success as my older brother never fell off. He just freaking stomped everything from the time he was 8 years old. But dang sure remember being behind the chutes, and like the other little kids were like, "Oh, he's gonna win because he's Lane's cousin," and I'm over there like, "Man, I'm just as scared as you guys." Like this calf doesn't know who the heck Lane Frost is. Like, to circle it all around, like I had the success because I wanted to practice, but my dad was very adamant, like, we're not going to the rodeo unless you guys practice. And so that always gave, we talked about fear earlier, but the time spent in the practice pen and, all that brought it all together to have success. And through the course of, by the time I was in high school, I, would say I embraced the last name more instead of felt it as more of an added pressure. It was just maybe a cool conversation piece, but I was very aware that Lane, being my cousin, wasn't going to help me ride this bull very much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm a little bit curious about what goes on in the locker room at the finals, because like we have a ton of Canadians that make the bronc riding finals all the time, and they tell stories of that last round fight that they have, the big brawl in the locker room at the last round and everything like that. What's the atmosphere like in the locker room for the bull riders? Do you got jokesters? Do you got pranksters? Is anybody pulling their boots out of their bag and they're stuffed full of crap or what? Not physical crap, but
I hope not.
I've worked on the rigs where you had to watch your boots because your cross shift would jack with your gear and everything like that. So like, what's going on in the bull rider world like that?
We are definitely probably the boringest locker room of the 3 rough stock locker rooms.
No way.
Nothing gets to, at least like I said, I've been 5 times, and the first year we made it, all the bull riders kind of went out together after the 10th round and had a good time, but it's nobody gets too wild, too much wrestling. Last year we had Jared and Jordan both there. They were probably the closest thing we had to pranksters in the locker room, being Canadians.
It's a Canadian thing.
Yeah. And they kind of made a comment last year that the Canadian finals is way more fun, that
That's
like I said, it's dang sure a good atmosphere with the bull riders, but it's not as much of like the party that I would say you have in the bareback riding and bronc riding locker room. It's a little bit more competitive and maybe a titch more clicky, but
interesting. Okay. Just wondering if JB was in the locker room smoking darts, chirping the boys, or if it was still kind of chill with him around.
Yeah, the year he made it, it was probably a lot more laid back. It was a little bit scary for the fact he almost died in the second round.
Yeah.
But in pure JB fashion, we got to watch him down 2 pictures of beer each night before the bull riding, and he finished that sucker off. And he's grew up watching him, and you want to talk about one of the toughest guys you've ever seen. And he, like I said, lets it hang out every time he nods his head. But that was definitely a dream come true, getting to be at the NFR with him his first year, and like I said, come out with the round win, and then took a pretty rough beating in the second round. But like I said, he kept his attitude good the whole time, and I kind of figured, I know that's how he lived his whole career. And then to take it one step further, now he's my coach this year on the Oklahoma Wildcatters, right. So I got to spend a lot more time with him in the locker room, and he's a pretty cool guy.
I was going to ask you that, that's one of the questions we had here. What's JB like as a coach? Because I feel like his whole career, he's been so laid back, right? And so unconventional compared to all the other bull riders. I'd be really interested to know, like, what is he a hard ass? Like, does he let you do your own thing? What's going on as a coach?
He definitely let us do our own thing. Very much coached the same way he rode bulls. Kept it simple. As long as we tried our hardest, nobody ever got their ass chewed. And I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there. I mean, it was his first year coaching. I do feel like some people might need an ass chewing on occasion.
Right.
But it was, we had a very young team, and they were dang sure living their lives like JB Mooney.
That's so funny.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I just said that they were dang sure having fun, and we kind of forgot sometimes that we needed to make the whistle. And so that's where sometimes the ass chewing needs to come in. It's all good if you want to go have fun, but JB showed up the next day and rode his bull, and we weren't quite capitalizing on the bull riding side.
Yes, sir.
That's interesting because, the party is usually a lot better when you're winning first.
Yeah, exactly. Cigarettes go down a little easier.
And they're a lot easier to buy when they're depositing money in your bank.
Man, but that's an interesting part of the teams as well, Josh, because, so many events in rodeo are individual. Maybe you got your horse in tie down roping or in bull riding. It's you and that bull. The amount of work you put in is what you're going to get out of it. Now we're talking about a team, and maybe you've done all your work. Maybe you're grinding, maybe you're riding your bulls, but your partner is not, your teammate is not. And what's that like? What's that been like for you guys to get into the groove of a team sport as opposed to the individual part of it?
It's definitely been a learning curve for everybody. All the other bull riders, you see it on the team. Some teams figured it out better than others. And I was like, last year I was on Carolina, and we had a couple injuries, but and I don't know, I can't tell you what caused this, but we just didn't ride good. Me and Cooper were the two best guys on the team. Me and Cooper would never stay on the same days. Don't ask me why, but it was, and the attitude was great in the locker room, but it was like, as a team, we just never could figure out how to come together and freaking ride good. And then look at Carolina this year, they top 2 team, kicked butt all year long.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit like new team with the Oklahoma Wildcatters. We had a bunch of young guys on the team, and several of them that it was their first year doing teams. And it was just similar to a little bit of a learning curve. And, there's a little bit more added pressure on the team deals outside of just riding bulls, because now not only are you counting on winning for yourself, you're 5th out, and if you ride this bull, you win, and if you fall off, you just lost this game for your team. And that's something that you've got to learn. At the end of the day, it just comes down to riding your bull, but that's a variable that a lot of guys haven't ever had experience before, and learning how to block all that out and lock in and do your job.
Do you have a past with any kind of team sports? Did you play football, hockey, anything like that growing up where you were submerged into that team dynamic?
I really don't. I was a big wrestler, which that kind of helps and doesn't, because wrestling is kind of one of those sports like I can win and my team loses, and as long as I won, I was happy.
Right.
And I think if I was maybe on a better team, we maybe would have, like, we were close as a team, but the high school I went to didn't have a great wrestling program, and so like I worked hard at it. My dad was a really good wrestler, so like I had a lot of success, but from the actual team aspect, it was just like I was a little selfish in how I wrestled. I went in and did my job. I worked hard in practice, but I wasn't too concerned about what the other people on the team were doing. And that's something, being on the bull riding team, and bull riders are hard too, because there's a lot of them, you start telling them to do stuff or get on bulls or coaching them, or some of them don't respond really well. And it's, comes great from JB, but it also comes from, within us as a team, figuring out how to push each other and make each other better without coming off as, oh, Josh is the old guy that doesn't want to have any fun, that keeps making us, like, and I was probably the outlier on the team. Like, I don't drink a lot. I don't party a lot. I work out every day. And then you got all these 19 to 20-year-olds that are like, JB never work out. We don't need to. And I'm like, JB stayed on.
JB's track record is kind of biting him in the ass now as a coach. Like, imagine having JB as a teacher in college, be like, yo, screw you, bro. You smoke cigarettes and drink beer. Like, I'm not gonna study.
He's over there like, no, do what Josh is doing. Work out, eat healthy, like take care of your body, as he's just hacking.
That was I think we only bucked off all 5 bulls. The one time we rode really good for a while. And the second time we bucked off all 5 bulls, JB was kind of mad. And he goes, okay, if we ever do this again, so the other Eduardo Matos was on our team, Brazilian kid, rides really good.
Yeah.
And he was very quiet, didn't party, didn't drink, works out, gym every day. He goes, if we buck off all 5 bulls again, Josh, Matos, you guys are getting drunk and you other guys are going to the gym.
That is so JB right there. That's amazing. Now, Josh, while we were doing research on you, we came across your website, bro.
Yeah.
You have the best website I've ever seen. You got to hook me up with your designer, first of all.
Yeah.
But you're the kind of guy that you communicate very well. You're always doing interviews and representing our sports so well, and you really care about communicating. Look at your website. It's for you at home right now. If you're watching or listening to this, go on www.thejoshfrost.com and you can find out everything about this guy's story. The website is so good. Mm-hmm. When did you start paying attention to that side of it? Because today you don't just have to be a good bull rider anymore. You also have to be a public figure, right? If you want to make money off sponsors and help Wrangler, let's say, or Cinch sell jeans, you have to have a presence. When did that come into your radar? When did you start putting money and effort into that as well?
I would say probably 2021. Like, I was always kind of aware of it and, tried to be a good ambassador. And, from the time you were growing up, they always talked about, talking good in interviews and being on podcasts and signing autographs and, be a good person, ride bulls good, you get sponsors.
Yeah. Well,
pretty quick after 21, like, I'd been to the NF, I kind of understood the first year I didn't do good at the NFR, but it's like, they always say when you start riding bulls good, you're going to get sponsors. Well, I'd been to 2 NFRs, won the average, and like all I had was Wrangler on my shirt. And so that was when, like, I would say there from 2018 on was when it kind of made the shift from riding bulls. Being a good bull rider wasn't enough. Like, you needed to take it a step further with social media and website and, being able to show these sponsors, a return on their investment of like, it's not just here's $10,000, show this patch on. Now
yes, sir.
They want to see your analytics from social media, and that stuff's almost more important than just being able to ride bulls good.
100%. It's a game. You got to dance the music, whether you like to or not. Today, I think you have to do it. Otherwise, you're not going to get the sponsorships that guys would have got back in the day when you didn't need to do all that, right?
Yeah. And do you have somebody helping you? Because, we talked a lot about the amount of work and effort it takes in to ride at the level you ride at.
Yeah.
But the whole social media side of things requires a ton of the same effort. And like even your website, man, like it takes a long time to build something like that? Do you have somebody helping you out?
Yeah, I work with I have a group of agents. It's called Periscope Sports Management, and
Nice.
I was actually their first athlete they had, and
Nice.
it's two friends that are partnered on the company, and then the Jerry's son is like they have a media company too, and so Caleb does the website, runs my social for me, and kind of helps with all that. And so like they get the list of the stuff my sponsors need, and we hire a photographer to come out, and she shoots all the content for us, and then he makes sure that it gets put up on the certain dates with the posting schedule, and does the website and kind of all those things, which was that was why I got help with that. Is it's a full-time job trying to be a bull rider, and when I'm home I'm full-time job ranching, and so it was one of the places I felt like I was weak as an athlete, and so I got outside help with it, and it's been really good for my personal brand, and made my life a lot easier too.
Yeah, man, you need a team behind you, right? You can't do everything by yourself, especially everything well. And you wear many hats. You also have your own line of rosin, right? You're an entrepreneur, you're a businessman. When did that come about? Tell us about that initiative.
That started. I think I started making rosin maybe 2019. Just was making some for myself, my older brother. A few of my buddies were using it, and then everybody's like, "Man, this stuff's so good, you should sell it." Well, I got hurt pretty bad in January 2020. So while I was hurt, I was, not riding bulls. So I was like, I need to do something to start making a little money. So I took it to the next level, started packaging it, selling it. I think I was figuring out when I first started, I was, I was buying rosin from Barstow, or, $20 for a pound of rosin, and melt it down and sell it. I'm like, I got to figure out how to get this cost down. And so I bought a 55-pound bag of dry rock rosin. At that time, I was like, man, this is going to last me forever. And through the course of 2020, growing the business, haven't pushed it super hard. It's kind of all been natural. Now here we are in 2024, and I'm going through 1,000 pounds of rosin a year. Like it's crazy.
Where did you get that from?
There's a place out of New Jersey called
Wait! Don't share your secrets, man. This is
I'm genuinely curious because, like,
yeah, but then his competitor is gonna buy from the same guy, bro.
They can do it. To go ahead. If they want to try to put me out of business, be my guest, because it's cooking 1,000 pounds of rosin isn't actually as much fun as it sounds.
Oh my God, I just got an amazing idea. Can we do like a spin-off of Breaking Bad, but you're making rosin in Utah?
That's what it looks like. I've been surprised the neighbors haven't called thinking I was cooking meth, because I'm out there with my...
Where do you find time to make this much rosin? Like, how do you when? Just
days off. It's not bad this time of year, which I've been cooking a bunch the last couple days. But in the summer, like I said, I try to be stocked up. So when I leave for summer, got it on the shelf, and my wife ships it all for me. We got a website, right? Like I said, flies off of there pretty good. And then I'm in a couple pretty big stores too that sell it for me. And
very cool.
That's amazing, man. What's Josh up to? Josh is just cooking. Cooking rosin.
Yeah. Moonshine? No.
A little stickier. That's amazing, man. That's awesome. Anything the guy does, he's a Midas touch. Anything he does just awesome. Kicks off. Congratulations. That's awesome, man.
I got a question about I feel like bull riding is one of those events where maybe it's a little bit easier to get into, right? You don't need the truck, trailer, horse, all that jazz. So what is your professional opinion on just a smart way to get started, a career in bull riding, if that's the route that somebody listening wants to go?
Roth Legacy Bull Riding School. Me and my brother put it on. And that was kind of a self-advertisement. But number one thing, if you do want to get into bull riding, you need to go to a bull riding school. The thing that's crazy about our sport, anyone can go ride a bull. Any one of you guys could buy your PRCA permit, go and get some gear, and you could enter a rodeo and show up with nothing, and nobody's going to stop you from getting on. Like, it's kind of what's crazy about it. It'd be like me walking out there to a NFL football team, like, hey, I'd like to play today. Like, I would die.
Yeah. He did.
We let people do that in bull riding.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to get into the sport, find a bull riding school. do it safely. Ideally, bull riding is definitely one of those things. The younger you start, the better. I hit on it earlier in the podcast. Like riding calves is relatively safe. When you're 8 to 10 years old and a Holstein calf steps on you, yeah, it hurts, but it doesn't break bones. And so if you're 19 years old and you want to start, about the only thing I can put you on is a bull. Or if you want to compete, you're going to be competing in bull riding. And so when you're getting on your first 100, like you're going to get stepped on, and it makes it hard to learn at that age. And so parents out there, if you got kids that want to start and you think they're going to do it, whether you tell them to or not, let them start doing it while they're in that 8 to 12 years range, because now they can practice and it's safer. And when they compete, they're actually getting on stock at their level. But the older they get, you start competing, you're going to be getting on full grown bulls. And
yes, sir.
To help with that, that's I was just going to say to help with that. That's something me and my brother, we do a bunch of bull riding schools. Within the last year, we've actually released it's an online bull riding school. We more or less filmed our bull riding school, broke it down. There's 100 videos in there. The goal with it was, if you've never rode a bull before, you could buy this, go through, complete the course, and when you get done, you would more or less know how to make the NFR.
God,
so
you guys are killing it, man.
That's amazing, man.
This is stuff that I think a lot more rodeo athletes could be jumping on.
Yeah.
Man, this is huge. The fact that you guys have initially a website course for riding bulls. That's freaking huge.
That's amazing, man. Maybe some people just can't get to you, can't get to Utah. Maybe they're in Brazil or Australia or Canada, wherever. All of a sudden, they got a couple practice bulls or a place they can practice at, watch your videos and work on those forms. It's like those old videos of like Roy Cooper's, that you put in a cassette, whatever the hell that shit was called
the old VHS.
The old VHS, and you're like, oh, here we go. Cody O is going to tell me how to row better. But yeah, man, now you can do it online and anyone can get it, and that's amazing. And another form of revenue for you as an entrepreneur. We talk about setting up your future, right? You're not going to be a professional athlete for the rest of your life, and you're already setting it up with your ranch, with your rosin, with your online courses. You're the full deal, buddy. Thank you so much for making the time to chat with us.
We do have one more question. The podcast is called Should Have Been a Cowboy, so we like to ask our guests, since you already are a cowboy, what do you think you would be if you weren't a professional bull rider?
I'd be a school teacher.
Wow. I did not expect you to say, you said school teacher, right?
Yeah. That's actually what I got my degree in, is in ag education, which
amazing.
Is like agriculture, animal science, plant science, welding, ag mechanics. And I actually taught for 3 months at one point in my life. So
no way. What were you like as a teacher? Are you like a hard teacher? Are you everyone's friends and they walk all over you type thing? Or
you got to be really hard the first 2 weeks, and then it was smooth rolling after that. And when I did teach, I was teaching welding and ag mechanics, and so that was a lot easier to be fun doing that, like get in the shop and weld. And as long as you were doing that, everybody was happy. I was happy. So
that's awesome. And did you go and get the master's so that you could be a rodeo coach if maybe that's something down the road?
That's on the bucket list. That is one of the bull riding kind of took off right after I got my bachelor's, but that's something I very much wanted to do, was get my master's, so I had the option to be a rodeo coach. So
man, that is awesome. Giving back to the community. We love to hear it. Well, thank you for hopping on with us, Josh. This has been phenomenal, and we can't wait to watch you absolutely strap 10 beef.
Yes, sir.
The NFR here shortly.
Yes, sir. Get after it, buddy. Going in fourth. We hope you have an amazing NFR. Thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you, guys. It's great talking.
What a beauty.
Did you expect him to say that?
No.
The guy's a professional bull rider.
Yeah.
If I wasn't a professional bull rider, I'd be teaching children.
If I wasn't strapping incredibly dangerous bulls, I'd be molding minds.
Those two things I love: molding minds and spurring bulls. So cool, man. But this is what it's all about, right? We're finding out things we never imagined. Like I never, like I would have lost all my money, my house, everything I had if I had to put a bet on what he was going to say.
Yeah. Wouldn't have had a clue, man. And it just shows you that there's so much more to these guys than than what we see in the arena. It just seems like we always only see them in the arena, right? So,
and just judging a book by its cover, right? The stereotypical bull rider. This guy's an idiot, just a meathead, doesn't know anything, and
yeah, party animal. And he said they were the most chill group of guys.
doesn't drink, like works out every day. Like he says he's gonna get his master's after to teach other kids how to ride bulls, like and rope and steer wrestle. Like
guy's a Linderman Award winner, right? Like
he would be the perfect
coach, rodeo coach.
Oh, 100%, and he will be a rodeo coach. And
absolutely.
And the best part, married a Canadian.
That's right, dude. Them Canadians.
I was gonna ask him, like, did you marry her for the passport? But I didn't think our friendship level was there yet, so I held back. Next time, though, Josh. Next time,
it's on.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Don't forget, guys. Should have been a Cowboy on YouTube if you want to watch us chat live with these guys via video. Other than that, subscribe to the podcast. We'll see you at the next one.